Even when I did a book on Vietnam in the 60s, I mean from the 60s, I published it in the 80s, there's one chapter just called The Eyes of Survival. And there's something about if you can shoot a portrait in a zone which is contested, conflicted, you'll come up with images which you can't shoot anywhere else. And maybe through those eyes you can actually say something about the plight of the people. Do I have to nod? What do I do? The elections, as you know, were totally and utterly flawed. And prior to the elections, I had all my students photographing billboards. This is going to the polls in Herat, in the west of the country, which is a very rich area. This is the Blue Mosque in Herat, which was used as a polling station. This is just prior to August the 20th. This is an old mosque, which is another polling station in Herat. This is a town called Nili, which is in the middle of the Hindu Kush, which is a Hazara town with a few Pashtuns in it. More for the essay on the abstraction of the elections. These are people waiting for polio handout in a place called Gore, which has a Lithuanian military team. This is a rock concert where no women go to the rock concerts. This is in the military prosthetic hospital in Kabul. There's a Russian who stayed behind to fly dodgy helicopters. Seriously dodgy Mi-8s. This is an old boy waiting to vote in the west of the country. The Afghans have a word for those who smoke hash, which is called nashka. Half the army and half the police force is basically on the man. This is a man I'm putting a leg on. If I can do one leg for one man, it'll be this guy. This is in the military hospital again. He's only just lost his arm 3 months ago. This is his Zara in Bamiyan, the place where the Buddhas were blown up by the Taliban. This is outside of the box in the UN. This is in the Kabul markets. You probably heard of Massoud, the Mujahideen leader who was assassinated. There was a Martyrs' Day and Massoud Day. And his tomb is up in the Panjshir Valley, which is an incredible, beautiful valley, 100 kilometers from Kabul. This is the shrine up to Massoud. On Massoud Day, everybody bought his postcard. They decorate the cars with him. Is he only here? He's like their chain. He's like their feet down. No, this is up at the Martyrs' Day ceremonies. Especially Spanish special forces guarding us when we went to this place called Gore for a polio vaccination. I shouldn't say this is my best friend who's the editor of the Phnom Penh Post. We got a day out at the range as peace ambassadors. This is the UNHCR headquarters in Kabul. They're supposed to be apolitical. The UN compounds are guarded by Gurkhas, which I guess meant we were virtually secure. This is almost like medieval. This is waiting to vote in Herat. In Herat, there was about a 70% turnout. This is in a place called Daikundi, in the Hindu Kush. This is my driver out of the range who was pissed off to have to work on a Sunday until he found out he could fire automatic buttons. Another guy waiting to vote in Herat. It's like the whole population is like the Afghan girl picture. You just can't go wrong. But I've got to somehow, I should actually be handing out pieces of paper you to vote for the 12 pictures you'd prefer. This is the lady who runs the office I was working in. This is the IDP resettlement camp in Parliament. This is a junkie outside a kite shop in Kabul. This is when I got apprehended by the UN for going outside the box. These are the hills which Kabul, center in the middle of Kabul, they're right in the middle of Kabul. This is hills, and the kids fly kites up there. These are Danish D-miners up on the Shamali plain. There's almost medieval march back to, this is during Ramadan, so this is demining up near Bagram. Another Russian who stayed behind to look after an old helicopter. There are more ruffians and contractors and goons and these guys like this who are private and close protection guys who are making a couple $100,000 US a year tax-free. This is the bodyguard of the Gore province governor. It's a British brigadier, and this is inside the smoking room at the Myanmar compound. It's the photo room. This is going into the election, the polling station in Herat. This is in the west. I want to try to do a very large poster of all the kids' work and just a little. This is the Afghan budding cricket team. Those of you who like cricket remember how the Lankans in 82 weren't strong. The Afghan cricket team in 2 or 3 years' time is going to be thrashing our asses. They bowl like RPGs, they're serious. These are election observers that are kind of where the fraud started. More election observers in Herat. I like to think the woman's being a bit cheeky, but I'm not quite sure what the eye contact meant. I mean, you can't actually kind of violate a burqa very easily. These are junkies who came at me with a syringe in Herat. These are Hazara children weaving. It'll take them about 3 months to weave that, and then it's about $400 for a massive big 3 meter by 2 meter carpet. This is outside the UN compound in Kabul. These are the HESCO people who make these kind of containers to put rocks in. Make $1 million up there. This is Hazara outside of Herat. Men waiting for work in a Hazara community outside of Herat. I guess this guy's just dressed his kids up for the hell of it. It was in the middle of Eid. I shot that because he had an Aussie cap. I figure I can sell that to the Curious Mail or something. Oh, it's horrible. This is a guy in the Street of Kites outside the box again. Pashtun. Again, you can't tell where you are on the planet and the faces there. They could be Tibetan, Mongolian. This is at Skaterstan. The Australians have built a skating, online skating and skateboard rink in the middle of Kabul. This is a Hazara in a town called Nili Bazaar. It looked like the 14th century. More election posters. This is Abdullah. These are refugees who've been resettled and built their own house again. They came back from Iran. It's a new carpet weaving place in the hills in central Hindu Kush. There's an election observer where the ballot boxes came in, where the fraud really started. They found one ballot box that looked like a Bunnings storage box with a pair of shears inside the box, and the slot was too small for the shears. Then there's the 25 boxes that fell off the American helicopter. They put it in a cargo net, they dropped them. 1,200 polling stations where people couldn't get to out of 7,500. They weren't secure. This is Khalid Hosseini, who wrote the book called The Kite Runner, a beautiful movie about Afghanistan. Hazara. This is at Masood's shrine up in the Panjshir. Photos are by an Iranian photographer called Reza. He's waiting for medication in a place called Gore. This is my Piekta. This is the picture which, if I had to say one picture, this was Afghanistan. The refugees who just came back. There's a carpet seller in Herat. A security guard where the ballot boxes came into the UN warehouses. I think he's out of The Hobbit, but old Smithy. He was the heavyweight wrestling champion of Afghanistan, was 84 years old. He was fast asleep on a stone, but he was quite happy, so. This is up in another resettlement village where people have been brought back in from Pakistan. These are Hazara women waiting for polio drips for their kids. It's an old election observer outside of Herat. This is basically what I think of Mr. Karzai. Did you know his brother is the Minister of Interior and Governor of Helmand Province and is the biggest narcotic dealer in the country? And he's outside a mosque. These are probably Taliban. This is an area where it's mostly peaceful. And this is the man I'm putting the leg on at the end of the day. I'm going to stop it now. How do I stop it? How do I stop it? Oh, I see. We're going to leave that one up. Or would they prefer the women's picture on the screen? The one back. It's a nicer picture rather than that. Oh, you can't do that? Oh, it's not that magic. Okay. So I don't know what to say to you. I believe that one picture is worth 1 billion pixels. It used to be 1,000 words. I know that we are trapped inside the folly of the digital image. And I do caution you, there won't be anything left in 10 years. Every time you open your hard drive, its entropy is 5 degrees. And that's geometric. Discs I had from the turn of the century, but that sounds a long time ago, doesn't it? I have 5 to 20% return on them. And these are good quality discs. And I there's a lot of old people in here too, people with grey hair, mature people, excuse me. And if you want to keep your memories alive, keep shooting film. And I actually ask you to do that because if you do it, then I can still get film to shoot. It's a bit of a selfish reason. And if I had more time, I could hopefully impress you to show you the stuff I shot with film in Afghanistan. I shot 25 rolls on a Leica and a Hasselblad. And those images are something, again, with a quality that, I don't know how to put it, it's something intangible, there's something profound to me and touch about the colours and the forms of the image. I deviate. It's about photography. Is it art? No. I just love making good pictures. And I really think that we remember images. We don't remember television. Even after the evening news is finished, we've just seen the worst disaster. We're sold cat food and Cadillacs and Coca-Cola. And we have no idea what we watched. We are immune. One picture locks into our mind, and I'm quite sure that the mature people here remember quite happily, not happily, the imprint in their mind of the burning girl in Vietnam, the execution by Eddie Adams. There are images fixed in our head, but what clip of movie can you remember? Okay, how many people can say they can remember man's first step on the moon? Put your hands up. That's not bad. Senior suggestions. I like that. That's good. I should have taken a picture. It's a good presentation. But we remember stills. We don't remember movies. And when I've come to you, I should have this nice dissolving, I should have tinkle tinkle Afghan, pinky plonky Bollywood sound going to it. To make it into, and maybe that's the shape of what we're going to do with our pictures. We're going to make them into quick time movies. Little 5 minutes, 10 minutes, which are going to be much more impact on us than sitcoms, game shows. You remember those little hardcore little kind of programs that SBX puts on for 5 minutes at the end of the news. You remember them. Somehow they're in our heads, but you don't remember what you've just seen. Was it CSI? I don't know, was it a game show? I have no idea what I've watched. We can't get Al Jazeera, so I'm not saying we're lied to, we're misinformed. Yes, you can go online and you can find it all out. But our media is not, excuse me, the only thing I miss about not being in Europe is a decent newspaper. This country has seriously bad problems with media. Sorry, I know. But there's not a decent newspaper here. I want my Independent, I want my Guardian, I want my Observer, I want papers I can read all week. And I don't have it here. I mean, the Curious Mail goes on, Mein Kampf goes in the bin and says, it takes me 10 minutes, Mein Kampf. You know, I just don't need it. It's a waste of trees. I've rattled long enough. Please.
The kids you've been teaching in Afghanistan, what would happen with those
The unfortunate thing about the UN pulling out 600 people, all those little projects like this, small polio campaigns, small like women's campaigns, I mean, all over the country, they get pulled. Just at a time when Obama's committing another 30,000 troops, I don't know. We need to be on a civilian surge. Our mob coined in Vietnam, wham, winning hearts and minds. We've got to get out of the armoured vehicles, build roads, guard them. Wells, clean water, schools. The kids are gagging to learn. We can almost insidiously use television because it's 40% literacy, so people can't read and write. It's not good. But they're quite happy to watch Beckham and Bollywood. Or Man U, I don't know what they want to watch on their plasma screens. With television, we can bring them out of a certain dark period. And ironically, the United Nations has got a communications department where I was located. And they're training editors on Macs. I mean, we just got 12 new Macs in for them. Training cameramen, there's a course of 6 cameramen. There's soundman course. And they're supporting 5 television stations, private and government. So the word is getting out. Are the kids I'm teaching going to get my job or get Adam Ferguson's job? Get Natchway's job? Not yet. But a bit like in Vietnam or Cambodia, if you open the lotus a little bit, it's going to keep opening. And once you let those ideas in, you can't stop them anymore. And by gradually opening more and more, like photography, photojournalism, cameramen, soundmen, whatever, media people, by bringing those people on, we'll get the facts out to the people, and hopefully it's going to make a cultural difference. I mean, they're so imbued with Islam. I mean, back in the 70s, Afghan was Islamic, a bit like Malaysia. I mean, mini skirts and Muslims. I mean, it was the Taliban clamped down. I mean, to the point that even a road sign with pedestrians crossing, their heads were scratched out. Shampoo bottles, they scratched the faces off the shampoo bottles. Now everybody's got a mobile phone. Cheapest mobile calls on the planet. I mean, 20 minutes to Australia, $3. I mean, everybody's got a mobile phone. Everybody's back flying kites, which is every Afghan kid does. The Taliban don't want any of that. You can't turn it back. But how do you give the people what they need? Schools for their kids, clean water, and as we did in Cambodia, where we brought the Khmer Rouge, who were decidedly more feral than the Taliban. Khmer Rouge, they weren't global, they were just Cambodian. By letting the Khmer Rouge put a candidate on the ballot in the districts that they were running. Okay, the Khmer Rouge said, anybody comes in to register, anybody comes in to vote, we're going to chop your hand off. Didn't. People flocked in to vote. No Khmer Rouge got elected. The irony of this election was there were 13 Taliban candidates in Taliban districts down in the southwest, Helmand and Nimroz, Kandahar, areas they control. And the UN said, we want your candidate on the ballot. That Hiziboli Spaghetti Party, I don't know what it was called. Who calls the tune in Afghanistan? Not the UN, which called the tune in Cambodia and controlled the military component. The Americans, ISAF, NATO, whatever you want to call it, call the tune. And so they nixed the Taliban official party being on the slate in 13 districts. If you want to engage your enemy, recognize him, give him a status. Okay, you're Talibans, fantastic. What's your plan for education? What's your health minister say? Who's going to build your roads? Come into the Jura, come in and have a chat. You're an MP now. Come in and tell us what you're going to do. If you legitimize the opposition, I don't care if they're communists or they're fascists or BNP or Screaming Lord Such or what was it? We've got the marvellous party here in this country, party. I mean, it's marvellous as party. I mean, only Australia could have a party. But I mean, the Afghans are not going to be amused by party. But bring the opposition into the table. I mean, and theoretically, Kevin 07 is supposed to be listening to what Mr. Obama is saying. We're going to have dialogue. But I don't see it happening. And meanwhile, we're spending, what is it, $4 billion a week on the war? If you put this much of that $4 billion a week into civil aid, hearts and minds, schools, water, we wouldn't win. Nobody's ever won in Afghanistan. I mean, we've read Kipling. I mean, you can't win there. And we're not even talking about Pakistan, which is a separate issue, or it's part of the problem. We can't win there. However, we can give 37 million Afghans a decent chunk of life and an opportunity to feed themselves and not be ruled by a bunch of hoodlums with guns. I mean, that's what we can give to them. But we can't win. We can feel good about giving them civilian aid and education. And we've got to buy the poppy. There's another big problem, the poppy.
I'm going to unfortunately interrupt you there, Tim, and suggest that we continue the discussion over lunch. I'm sure that everyone is really keen to continue chatting with Tim about some of these issues, which are really poignant today. Can everyone please make your way up to the roof terrace, which is on level 4 of the building. Continue down the long gallery and we'll catch you there.